Good afternoon. As we come towards the end of our B Corp interviews for the month, I have Rohan here from Futureheads, a recruitment business that's a B Corp. GoodFX has recruitment businesses as clients, but we've never chatted to a B Corp recruitment business before. It's great to have you, Rohan. Please tell us a bit more about yourself, and would love to hear more about the positive work you're doing.
Yes, thanks, Rob. So I'm one of the co-managing directors at Futureheads and Synced, who've been a B Corp business for a year and 3 months now. So Futureheads is a digital recruitment business. We've been in the space for about 15 years now. We started by 3 female founders, so women-owned recruitment business, which at the time was a real rarity and still is in a lot of ways. I've been with the business for 10 years as of last month, so a reasonable time myself. Our kind of business is kind of twofold. So we work across a range of different sectors, but we specialize within the kind of digital and tech space, kind of working through the full product life cycle. So our Futurehead business is very much kind of your traditional business comes to us and needs a hire within our space. You'll work directly with a person to kind of get that. And then our Synced business is our kind of embedded talent service. So our consultants who are part of that business are embedded directly within customers themselves and act as their talent team when they're going through spikes or periods of growth. So that's kind of us in a very quick nutshell.
Yeah, great. And since you've become a B Corp, tell us about how that's helped you as a business and how it reflects in how you operate.
Yeah, I think it's definitely different from what I was anticipating when we certified. I'm sure lots of other B Corps have kind of been through the journey of applying and becoming certified, and it's a pretty rigorous process. So when we kind of certified, it was, I think, 9 or 10 months in pending, so to speak. So a bit of a relief, but then a kind of a bit of celebration to kind of get over there. I think where it definitely helps us as a business is I think the journey itself really was a kind of a learning curve and a process where we've always been a business that's balanced or looked to balance kind of people, purpose, profit in that way. So kind of going forward for B Corp was a real validation and kind of endorsement for the work that we've done. But I think going through that journey, it definitely helped us sort of look at a lot of our internal value processes, align everyone on our mission, things like DEI, supply chain, even who our target customers and clients were needed to kind of evolve to kind of suit. So I think the journey really helped us, I guess, refine our identity as a business and the direction we really wanted to move in. I think as a sales business, I'd love to say becoming a B Corp just opened the floodgates and everyone suddenly wanted to work with us. It wasn't quite that kind of simple. But I do think when we are in conversations with businesses where I think the similar values and kind of beliefs mirror ours as a business, it's a clear differentiator. And I think, as you said, Rob, you've got kind of recruitment businesses that you partnered with, but not many of them are B Corps. So I think it's really just that almost seal of approval that as a business you want to partner with someone who's more kind of evidence-based and justifies the work they do rather than just say it, which is often the case in sales. So yeah.
No. And do you find, when I think about the recruitment business, you're also remunerated on one part by your clients for the longevity of the people that you place. Do you feel like there's, because of the B Corp approach, you see that longevity of the candidate going forward? I don't have any insight on that. It's just something that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more than B Corp. I think it's, I guess, again, fundamentally the way that we've always worked has been relationship led. I think a lot of recruitment businesses can be very kind of short term by nature. It's quick fee and out and maybe kind of relationships and longevity kind of suffers as a result. So we've been always a business that kind of has built our foundations on relationships, and myself included, a lot of the people that I worked with when I was a junior many years ago are now running businesses and would never consider speaking to someone else because that's the kind of quality of relationship and trust that you can kind of build up. So I think certainly with the type of customers that we work with and how we've adapted with our B Corp approach, I think naturally, if you are working with tech for good or social impact businesses, I think there's a specific type of individual that maybe favors those more. And I think they often kind of like the relationship led approach and rather than kind of the transactional style. So, we always hope that any relationship, whether it's a candidate, whether it's a client or anyone involved in that process, it's hopefully one for life. And touch wood, it's kind of been fortunate that our business has kind of been built that way. And again, kind of flows in with the B Corp approach.
Yeah. No, and it has been a funny time for tech hiring over the last couple of years. Again, personal interest. How have you seen the market respond to that? Do you still see strength in tech for good? Is it still outpacing a broader tech market that I think has probably suffered quite heavily from headcount lost rather than headcount gain?
I think this kind of stems back to sort of COVID and sort of the sudden impact of change on the world in a kind of very short space of time. I think even from kind of 2020, what we saw was a lot of change in kind of industry and kind of surprise and shock, where tech's always just been almost on a rocket ship kind of moving forward. And I think the impact that COVID had on people's lives and changes in that, I think it made a lot of people reevaluate who they work for, how they work. Working from home became suddenly a normality, and kind of, I guess people had a bit more choice, which they always had before, but I think it was always a bit of a kind of a merry-go-round in tech of how things worked. So I think we've seen actually really an increase in kind of demand, certainly from the candidates that we work with, to want to work in spaces where there is an impact. And I think people want to finish work and tell people about the places that they work, rather than go, I work in a sector where I'm doing it for finance purely or something along those lines. And I think the real positive for me in change in the tech space has been, it used to be really difficult for a lot of businesses that had a kind of tech for good proposition or similar to extract that funding in comparison to, I don't know, like a fintech or something similar. Whereas now I think there's lots of investment, there's lots of desire to kind of grow. You've got kind of VCs and even kind of PEs that support specifically social impact or tech for good businesses. So I think the world's evolved a lot over the last couple of years. I think the tech markets had shock factors from, I think 2022 was probably the most buoyant market I've ever seen. I think last year was quite a rigorous and tough one with big tech making changes, and that trickles down to elsewhere. So I think optimistic for 2024. There seems to be a slowly upwards curve kind of building, but I think businesses that have not just what they do as a business, I think how they run as a business, their culture, their people, how they look after kind of their ecosystem, I think is the thing that's going to help people stay in jobs. And I think people want to work for those businesses. I think the days of it will be all right, but maybe I'll kind of suck up a few things and push through it is not the case. And I think we see that even more with Gen Z, where the kind of requirement list for them is steeper. And a lot of people kind of who get into tech are moving forward from that younger generation, and there's plenty of jobs in tech. It's never going to go away. So definitely a place where I think doing the right things is important.
Yeah, no, can't agree more. I think on that message of the future's bright for 2024, especially for tech for good, I think that's a great moment to pause and say thank you very much, Rohan.